The Lego Movie 2, the second part, is a sequel to 2014's The Lego Movie, and this time is directed by Mike Mitchell, not Lord and Miller. Now, when it comes to the Lego movies in general, they are way better than they have any right to be. On paper, these movies should not work and should really end up something like the Emoji Movie. Just a pointless cash grab of a film that doesn't really work on any level. However, that's what would happen if these movies were put in the wrong hands. Luckily, these movies have been put in the right hands pretty much since day one, and we've ended up having pretty consistently really entertaining and really, really smart and funny films. And it just blows me away that we're able to live in a world where these movies exist. Movies that really shouldn't be that good, but actually end up being some of the best animated films of recent years. You've got the first Lego Movie, which is one of my favourite animated films ever made, just putting that out there. You have the Lego Batman movie, which is by far the funniest of the Lego films, and definitely manages to really nail the character of Batman and the world of Gotham and just Batman in general, and really that movie was just even more surprising than the first one, in my opinion. Because even though the first movie was like, okay, I don't know what to expect with this, I wasn't sure whether Lego Batman could carry a movie on his own. Turns out he can, and it ended up being one of the funniest films of that year. I think that's all of the Lego movies. What about the Lego Ninjago movie? Say what now? I went into this movie a little bit skeptical, considering that the first Lego movie is one of my favourite animated films ever. I was kind of thinking in my head, I just know this sequel is not going to be as good as the first. So all I went into this movie with, in terms of a mindset, was I just want it to be entertaining. Whether it's as good as the first or not as good as the first, I just want the movie to be entertaining at that. And luckily, the movie is a lot better than I thought it would be, though it definitely is nowhere near as good as the first movie. The things in this film that definitely keep it going are the visuals, which are just as bright and colourful and unique as they usually are in the Lego movies. And the jokes. I do think the jokes are more consistently funny in the first movie and in the Lego Batman movie. Here, I feel like the jokes that they try and do in the first half of the film don't quite land, but then when you get to like the second half of the film, the jokes are a lot funnier, a lot better, and just are a lot more consistent in terms of how funny they actually are. And that's probably where my main nitpick with the movie starts, is that the first half of the film it doesn't drag per se, it's just nowhere near as interesting as the second half. And I did think that the first few major things that happen in the film just took a while to really get to the point, and then the second half of the movie happens and it's just a lot. I think the flow of the movie is a lot better in the second half, and it definitely feels a lot more natural, a lot like the first movie, whereas the first half just kind of meanders a bit and doesn't quite know where to go until it hits a specific point, which I won't say if you haven't seen it yet. But once a certain thing happens, the flow of the movie then gets a lot more consistent and a lot smoother. I really appreciated the message that this movie had, and similar to the first movie, this was done via live action segments that are intercut with the Lego bits as well. And yeah, I thought the message really worked here, and it did lead to some really emotional moments towards the end of the film. That being said, I don't think they are as impactful as they were in the first movie, because the first movie builds up a lot of mystery surrounding a few certain things, and then having the payoff at the end be something you're not quite expecting, that being, people actually playing with the Legos, therefore making the events of the movie happen. in that sense, the payoff was a lot better in the first movie. And here, because we already know that that is how the world works and that these Legos are being controlled by actual people, it doesn't quite have the same effect, because we already know how it works, and they do cut back to it quite a lot throughout this movie. But that being said, the end message that they are getting across with said segments is quite touching, and I really like the way they handled it. Also, the Lego movies are now musicals, apparently. Yeah, I was not expecting this movie to have as much music as it had in it. See, with the first movie, you had Everything is Awesome, and that is it. I'm pretty sure there weren't any other songs, but that was like the main one. This one, you have quite a few musical moments that are literally musical numbers in the film, and they do acknowledge the fact that, like, oh, apparently we're doing musical numbers now, which I thought was quite funny. And the songs are a bit hit and miss. I would say 50% of them work and 50% of them don't. There's one song in particular that I thought really didn't work. It's about, I think, around about the halfway point of the movie, and it just really, I didn't find it funny whatsoever. But that being said, there is a song called The Catchy Song, and it's really catchy, as the title suggests. That one is really good. That one's quite funny. The one that the bad guy sings about not being evil, that one's really good. And also the song that plays during the end credits, which is by Beck, the Lonely Island and Robin. That song is really good as well, and I've had that stuck in my head since I saw the film. So yeah, the music is about 50-50. When the music's good, it's really good and works with the humour of the film, but when it doesn't work, it just feels a little bit awkward. In the end, I'm going to give the Lego Movie 2, the second part, a 7 out of 10. Even though it's nowhere near as funny or inventive as the first movie, it still manages to keep you entertained and engaged throughout its runtime, and that is mainly due to some gorgeous visuals, some really funny jokes that kick in more towards the second half of the film, and a few songs that do genuinely work. So guys, that's my review for the Lego Movie 2. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Bye.